everybody. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to be celebrating with you another episode of The Breakthrough today. My name is Jessica Dugas. I'm an intuitive mentor and I am the host of this show, and this is The Breakthrough. It's a spiritual view for your soul and mind where we dig deep on today's spiritual hot topics and inspire you with stories that change our lives. So we've got another amazing show today lined up, of course. We've got fabulous panelists with us, and we have my friend Daylene Pinder on the show today, who is a high performance coach, and she's going to be sharing with us something that is really important, and that is about saying yes to your purpose. How many of you have said yes to your life purpose yet? Okay, let's backtrack. How many of you even feel like you know what your life purpose is? Okay, I want to talk about that today, and I want you to share with me in the comments, and let's have some fun while the show is running today. And of course, we will be responding to you throughout the show. I want to say hello to everybody that's jumping on to join us. We have Tony, we have Lucinda, we have Brenda, we have we have Siri joining us, one of our other fun panelists. Hi, Siri. We have Gina. Good to see you guys today. We're so excited that you're joining us for another episode today. I would love for you, if you are new to watching the show, or even if you're a veteran, comment below and tell us where you're watching the show from today so that we can give you a little bit of a personal welcome and say hello where you're joining us from. So, like I said, we have a really good guest today and show topic. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you too. We've got a great show topic, and we've got a really fun hot topic today. But first, I want to backtrack for just a minute. Last week, we had an amazing show. We talked last Friday to my friend Katerina Stomska from all the way across the pond, as we say here, in the UK. And we had a lot of really fabulous viewers on the show. And I want to give our weekly shout out that we've got going on. I want to give a shout out to Sylvia, who joined us watching the show on the replay and shared with us a lot of really personal and deep and amazing thoughts about things that she's dealt with in her life. Because last week we were talking about relationships and rediscovering your self-worth, and Kat shared her story of being in a toxic marriage and how that really changed her, and the work that she had to do after leaving that marriage to love herself again and to rediscover her self-worth. And I just wanted to shout out to Sylvia specifically for watching and sharing the comments that you did and putting your heart out there. We appreciate it so much, and we are so grateful that you are a fan of the show and always watch, even though it doesn't come on in a time of day when you're watching. You always come back and watch the replay. So thank you so much for that as well. All right, guys, we need to jump in and welcome our panelists on the show today. First up, we have got our fabulous Jane of all things. She's our juicy girl coming to us from Canada. She's a meditation teacher, designer, photographer, and all the things. Everybody please hit the heart button for Tara Abram. Tara's on the show today. Hi, Tara. Are you there? You are.
I was muted.
Good. You're really quiet. You need to yell at us today.
I need to yell at you?
Yes. I'm so glad that you're on today. It's been a couple of weeks. You weren't on last week. Are you excited about today's show?
Yeah, I missed you guys.
Yes, I miss you guys too. I wish that we weren't all such amazing, fun talkers, that I could have everybody on every week and have everybody get a word in edgewise, because that would be fun. Yes, for sure.
We have fun. We roll.
Yes, we have fun anyway, even if it's just, you know, me and you chilling. But it's not just me and you today. Today we've also got our friend Crystal on the show, who is our transformational midwife. She's helping us. She's my cool vibe, calm lady on the show today, and she's our panelist. So everybody please hit the heart button for Crystal Cockerham. Yay. Hi, Crystal.
I love how you introduce me every time. I love it. I'm the cool, calm vibe.
Yeah, you're that calmness, that breath. We let you in the door and I can just take a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. I love it. So we missed you last week too. What have you guys been up to the last week? Any fun stuff happening?
So much fun stuff.
Yeah. Last weekend, I was traveling, so I didn't even get to join, in the comments. So
yeah, we missed you though. And it's been crazy for everybody. I think the full moon that happened the other day, you guys, major shifts happening for people. And I think it's been a fun time for a lot of people. Has it been a fun time for you ladies too? Let me, can you just
I'm sorry. I'm misbehaving.
You are misbehaving, but that's why we love you. That is why we love you for sure. I'm really glad that you ladies are on today, and I want to get to our hot topics because it is always a fun time to talk about our hot topics. So Daily Vibes page on Facebook put out a beautiful, people put out these beautiful pictures with quotes and things on it. And this one came across and I thought this would be a great hot topic for us for this season. And it says neurologists, see, I got it that time. Neurologists claim that every time you resist acting on your anger, you're actually rewiring your brain to be calmer and more loving. And so I thought this would be a really good hot topic for many reasons, but I want to see what you ladies have to say about that particular quote. Do you feel like that has been your experience, that when you calm yourself, when you control your anger, that over time that has continued to, that has been easier for you, or what does that look like for you ladies?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a space that you have to create. It's something that you have to work on for sure. It was really, I was at a workshop event recently and we were going through a lot of this stuff there. And definitely, I think it's one of those things, if you want to change your old ways of being, you do need to start to create new ways of being, new patterns, whether that's through movement and thought, mindset, like it all really ties together. So I think it definitely does, because if you don't want to stay in that energetic state, you need to shift what you're doing.
Mm. Yeah, creating that space I think is good, and shifting yourself I think is good. I often talk about that with my clients, that it's not. And the first time I really thought about this on a deep level was when I'd gone through the book Judgment Detox by Gabby Bernstein. And she was talking about, the fact that it's not that we need to or want to completely stop all judgment. Judgment is what helps us, to determine to be safe and to do things that we need to do in our life. But it's about recognizing the toxic judgment and then choosing not to reside there, like recognizing it and shifting it, as opposed to saying, my purpose is to stop all judgment or stop all negativity or stop all whatever. It's just that switch that needs to happen, that recognize the acknowledgement of it and then shifting it. What does it look like for you, Crystal?
Yeah, for me, I think it's one of those things, just like with any emotion, is proceed with caution. So while I agree with it, I also disagree with it.
Right.
And I say that because it isn't, so if you're being triggered in an anger response, there's really something in that for you.
Right.
That's a red flag. So, and it could be multi-layers, different levels of attention, so to speak. So, it could be the other person's being really inappropriate and it's triggering a response in you, but it could also be the other person's being really inappropriate or not, and it's triggering something that's unresolved within you. So really, making that mental note, like, wow, there's something in this for me. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to come back to it later, and then making that shift so that, right, you're coming from the person you're wishing to be. So, yeah. So for me, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing, but just differently, because in order for, like, the way I look at it is I have to create that space first
Mhm.
and experience that space in
Mhm.
order to be able to make that shift. And it's kind of weird. And I definitely agree. There's a process of emotions.
Right.
So I probably left that part out. But for me, I know what I do to process, or, with, I guess, other people. There's, depending on what the emotion is too, right? Like, anger is a lot different than, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is. And I heard you say that, but that was just because that's usually the realm that I'm working with people as they're shifting, is that piece, because they're usually at a crisis state because they've ignored that piece
Mhm.
for so long. So,
Right.
Mhm.
that's a big one. And, I am a Cancer, so it's all about the
Yeah.
feeling for me.
No, and
I know.
I think both of those are really, I mean, it's really good points. And I think the key for me, because when I first read the quote, I was like, what do you mean we're not supposed to, like, to ever be there? Like, I felt like that was my initial reaction. And then the more I do this with our hot topics, I'll sit there and I'll go over it and go over it and go over it to see if there's different views to see it from. And what got me after I read it 8 million times is that the part that says every time you resist acting on it. So it's not about not experiencing it or feeling it or even being in that space for any amount of time. It's, how many times have we felt something and then we've either said something in anger or acted on anger or done something that we're not real happy about after? I think that's really the key, is more about rewiring our brain to process it better, to take that time to, like you're saying, Crystal, feel it. And like you're saying, Tara, to allow yourself to be in that experience and think about it and all of that. And I mean, we know in my airiness, I think about everything forever and ever. I live in that rabbit hole. But I think it's a good thing for us to process it. What are some of the things that you guys do to, when you feel angry about something, like, to process it instead of acting on it? Like, do you guys have any tools or anything that you use, like best practices sort of thing?
For me, it's the breath. And oftentimes it's, so the more you do it, the more, like, tuning you get to do as you move along. And I think a lot of it depends on who you're in company with when that anger comes up. So oftentimes when I'm with a client, I'll like prelude it. I'll like prepare them. When I'm seeing a pattern, I'm like, okay, so this may initially take you off balance a little bit or a lot, but I'm saying this with love because there's something here for you. Like, I'll prelude that. But when I'm on the flip side and I don't have that warning, it's always, okay, take a breath. And then I gauge, do I need to somehow get a drink, go to the bathroom for a minute so that I can do that, right? And the intensity tells me what it is that I need to do.
I love that.
And then I can move into that reaction versus I can move into that responding versus the reaction. Right? I don't want to react from the anger. I want to respond from me.
Right. Would you say, Miss Meditation Teacher, that meditation is something good to turn to help you with your feelings of anger and things like that? Just a little, kind of.
Yeah, no, and I love what Crystal said. I find for myself, when I have things that are coming up that I'm resisting, one, it could be because it's something that I'm aligned with, but it's new to me, right? So I have to acknowledge that my programming has said, no, don't do this because you haven't done it before. So it feels scary, even though it might be something that I do want to move forward with. So that's where I kind of need to then start to recreate my thought patterns or my perception around it so that it becomes more familiar with me. Kind of like if you drove to work every day the same route and then suddenly found out, hey, I could go this way, but you didn't know it was available.
Right.
And you start to take that path and suddenly it becomes second nature again, right? So
I love it. That's a great analogy, Tara. I love it. All right. So I think it's a great hot topic, and we would love to continue to hear from you in the comments. What are some of the tools that you use when you feel anger coming out? Do you feel like not acting on your anger becomes easier over time for you? Let us know what your experience is now or has been in the past, and we would love to continue to hear from you. I know that one of our other panelists, Heather Clark, is watching, and she said that she used to say a lot of stuff way before thinking, and now she walks away first so she can process it and then come back and readdress it, which I think is what all of us are saying in a roundabout way, to not deny yourself that experience of feeling it, but to feel it and then choose your path afterwards. So I love this topic, and I think it's been a really good one today. So I'm really excited that we are going to welcome on our guest today. As I mentioned, she is a high performance coach coming to us from Canada, which I am the only American on the show. No, Crystal is too. Crystal's here, but you're so north. You're so north sometimes that I forget where you're at. But Daylene's coming to us from Canada, and she's a high performance coach who is going to be sharing with us today about saying yes to her life purpose. So before she comes on the show, before we bring her on camera, comment below. Just give us some hearts and comment below if you know what your life purpose is. That's my question today that I want to know, if you know what your life purpose is. So everybody, please hit the heart button and welcome our friend Daylene Pender to the show today. Daylene is coming. Here she is. Hello, Daylene. It's so good to have you on today. It's been, I wanted you on for a little while now, and I'm really excited that I think Tara, Crystal, and I have all been on your show, and so we're excited to have you on with us today.
Thank you. Am I muted?
No, you're good to go.
Okay, because I'm like, it just said you're muted. I'm like, oh no. Yes, it's really an honor. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. So we would love for you to chime in on our little hot topic today about rewiring your brain and resisting acting on anger. What does that look like in your life, Daylene?
Oh, I love it. And I totally agree with what all you guys are saying, that about responding versus reacting. And this is something that I've definitely had to hone in and learn, because I am a little bit hot tempered. I know you guys are shocked, but I'm a little spicy. So for me too, it's the same as if I'm in a conversation, there's a couple different scenarios and tools that I work with that have really supported me to respond in a way that I can always feel good about. And if it's a conversation with people and they, ask me something, I'm always like, let me just take a moment and think about that. Let me get back to you. So I'm not giving into that right at the moment. So if I feel that emotional trigger, let me just process that. Can I get back to you? And it's amazing what time can do and how it can just calm you, and you can react from a different emotion and from a different place, and you can see bigger than just the heat. And for my children, when your kids are sometimes getting under your skin, they are so good. They know that I'm like, mom's just going to take a moment, and the same, I'll go out on the deck or, and so that I don't, because I've learned that it's so important with the children learning from us. And I really want to be a good teacher for them and give them really good tools. Yeah. So when they're adults, right?
Yeah, I think it's really good too that you say that you verbalize that to them, because I talk about this with my kids a lot. The kids come to know the look, like the look from the moms, and we're like, I need a minute now.
Yeah.
And so I really love that you verbalize that to them as well. And it's not just like, oh, mommy looks scary, now we should go.
And you know what? I just thought of something. Like, it's been a little while since I've done this, but my middle son has Down syndrome. And I used this with him before he could verbalize. So we used 3 different states. What was it? Ferocious shark, calm kitty. And I forget what the other one was, but he would say that to verbalize how he was feeling. Like, I feel like a ferocious shark, right? Or, I'm in calm kitty, or man, it was so powerful and impactful. And teaching him how to manage his emotions. I'm a huge fan of this topic. So this was a great quote, because I am an emotional mess most of the time. I cry all the time, and I used to be so self-conscious of it.
Yeah.
And I've learned that it's actually my greatest gift.
Yeah. That's how I have approached that too. I've always been a very, very emotional person. Like, just like, give me any commercial, movie, life circumstance, childbirth, good food, I'm crying. Like, it's really good. And so I think it's a good way to look at that too. I think taking that time to pause and appreciate and think through things is a good way to approach any emotion. And we appreciate you chiming in on that with us today, Daylene. So I really want to get to talk about your story, because I'm so excited to dive into saying yes to your purpose. And I asked everybody that's watching to chime in below if they know what their life purpose is, because I think a lot of people need to kind of hone in on that. And then we can say yes to it, right? So take us back though, Daylene. I'd love to start out today for you sharing with us what life was like for you before you kind of heard that calling and say yes to it.
Well, it was very crazy and it was chaotic. And for me at that stage, I was in network marketing and I was very successful. I was, in the top 20 of Canada and earning incentive trips and being asked to present at convention. And, so people would really view me as, holy, this girl's pretty darn successful. But what they didn't see is, the stuff behind the curtain. And I was not successful at all. And, I was always looking for that next validation, that next incentive trip, that next bonus, and, seeking for that next thing that really give me a validation high externally, but it never fulfilled me internally. Like, I was never at peace, and I was extremely in hustle mode and not present. Like, I was so busy hustling, trying to, achieve that next goal. And my home life was a mess. My kids were, well, it's busy and stuff like that, but I wasn't present for them. It was like, yeah. I don't know if you've been in that energy before. And even, my husband and I, both of us it was like our marriage was headed for a train wreck. Like, we really needed to make some changes because we were both hustling and going separate directions. And I'm so grateful for that awareness. Like, for me, it was very specific. It was March 5th, 2013. And the feeling that I got, it gives so strong. And I'm a journaler, so I got my journal and I just had to. I started writing, and it just basically said that it's time. Like, you've done the work, you've been through so much, and it's time for you to really step into your purpose. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always known. Like, the song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine, has been playing through my head since the day I've been born, I swear. I just didn't know what it was, but I really think like that purpose is just really spreading love and light and be a blessing to others. And so that March 5th, 2013, I tried to push it away for about 6 months, but it just kept coming to me, and coaching kept coming up. And so I enrolled to be a coach. I didn't even know what a coach was, but I just knew that it was something in alignment for me. And it's been 5 years now since I've been coaching, and what an amazing journey. It's just been that it feels like I put on a new set of glasses and I could see life differently since I've had that experience of becoming a coach.
I was going to ask you, you said you've sort of known your whole life that you've had this purpose. And I was going to ask you, I'm glad you clarified a little bit about like how specific was this purpose for you? Because I think when some people think about life purpose, they think that they have to know all of the things of how that's going to look and how that's going to line up. And it's funny because like I've always wanted to be different things throughout my life. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to be on stage, and I want to be a music therapist, and I want to be all these different things. And so when I first sat down to think about what is my purpose in this life, I was like, well, I must not like know, because I've always wanted to be different things. But I think you hit the nail on the head with what it's more of a feeling and how you want to show up and how you want to serve. And so is that true for you? Like, when did you kind of know the details of it? Was it that day, that moment?
No, definitely not. And I think that like that truly is, I love to sing and perform, and I've been singing since I was a toddler. And through that's part of my purpose, but I see it as it's just to seriously make a positive impact on people's lives. And so for me, my purpose is, and what really drives me is, if I make a positive impact on one person's life, then I'm successful and I'm living that purpose. And so even if it's just, doing random acts of kindness or helping somebody that I'm coaching with, like it's sort of bigger than just being a coach, if that makes sense. It's just like, I feel just to spread my love and to really get into the heart energy and just spread love, 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 love. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to explode because I spread, it's such a strong feeling that runs through my body.
I love that.
Thanks, Tara.
Cards. I know. I always think your story is so beautiful, and yeah, we just have like synchronistic connections, and I've just always felt connected with you. So I think it's just kind of cool.
I love it, and I think it's the energy, and I love growth. I love, like, for me, success is being better than I was yesterday. I'm a growth catalyst and enthusiast, and so I grow by stretching myself and doing things that are really uncomfortable, by, getting on stage. And I'm kind of like addicted to that, but I know that that's what I'm meant to do, is to kind of perform. I guess I'm actually a performer. Right?
Well, it's awesome too when you can really, I think we're all kind of intuitive. So when you really can recognize too what somebody needs, I think that's like the biggest starting point. I had a client even the other night, and all they really needed was for me to just sit with them. Like at that moment, that's what they needed for that half hour of time. And they didn't care about anything else. Like literally, they just wanted to like sit in that space, and it worked, right? But I could tell that that's exactly what they needed. So we did that.
Yeah. And if I could say something about like building a purpose-driven business, or making money from your passion and doing what you love from your passion, I think what's kind of stops people is they do think they need to have it all like perfectly packaged. And I've been in business almost 5 years, and I've always had clients and built my business, but I feel like it's just now that it's really rock solid. So it's a growth process. And so you're not going to have it perfectly. And I bet in 5 years from now, I'm going to be a different person, because we constantly grow and change. So I want to just say, if you could walk away with one thing, let go of perfect. Just it is what it is right now in this moment, who you are, because tomorrow I'm going to be a different version, because I grow daily. And so stop trying to think, I need to have that perfect niche. I need to be, get it all perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And yeah, that's what I really feel is a powerful message to share with everybody about purpose.
I think that's good for sure, Daleen. The perfectionism gets in all of our way. I think many times, especially I've experienced that even through creating this show. Like especially when you're heart centered and you're wanting to put something out into the world, you're wanting to serve other people. It's important to us to have it be effective and touch other people and all of that. And so it can be really difficult to get out of our heads of what we kind of expect it to look like and what it ends up looking like, and that fun carnival ride that happens through the creation process, right?
Yeah.
So was there any other thing in your life, Daleen, that sort of was this the only time that you've really felt a calling to do something, or have there been other things in your life that, with your family or anything else that have made you think like, this is, needs to be I have another purpose here. Like there's something bigger going on.
Well, I do think like it started out with performing and singing, that I just loved it. It just made me feel so good. And I knew that it made a positive impact on people. Like I could tell that people really enjoyed listening to me sing. And so that definitely would be the starting. And then when I did have this on March 5th, 2013, like my awakening, I knew that this is way bigger than me. And it scared the crap out of me. Like, it is something so deep within your soul that it just sort of pushes you. Like you can't not go forward. That's how I felt. Like it was impossible for me not to say yes to my purpose. And it's like something that, I don't know, I just can't explain it like that. It's something that you can't not. So I'm curious, like what you guys following your purpose, do you have that same feeling where it's like you couldn't not do it? It was impossible.
Yeah. And it like transforms itself in different phases, right? It's not like, how perfect is this? The light switch. You can't just flip it on and off, right? Like once you acknowledge it, then it's accepting it, but then you practice being it. There's so many different ways that you can be and live your purpose.
Yeah.
Like all the incredible people who have crossed my path. It's amazing to watch them live their purpose, and they can all say very similar things, and it looks so incredibly different for each one of them. And then as, like over the spans of time, that changes apart from their initial comment, right? Like, so for instance, when I went through the coaching program, one of the women, it was like there was this point at the end for everyone, like, do I want to continue in what I've been doing for so many years and walk away from it? Or do I just want to say, I want to be a coach? And so one of the women, she quit her job and walked away from retirement, and she went on to do something different. And there was lots more to do with that whole situation, which isn't mine to share. And then there is another one who evolved eventually and then kind of started stepping away to do her thing her way, but it all involved, the art of helping others more than just what she was doing in her day job. And the other one's like, no, what I do is incredible with people, because she was she still is a CPA. And how much stuff do people have that comes up around their finances, right? I mean, the first time she helped me with my taxes, I think I had to go to her house like 5 times because there was just so much stuff wrapped around it. And I mean, like nausea, headache, all of that, right? So, like every single one of those people, they're living their purpose, and it looks so different for each one of them. So yeah, I find it's an evolution, even for me myself. When I went through that, I don't think I could have told you that, oh yeah, I'm going to have my own business and I'm going to be doing this and doing all the things I'm doing right now. So it's a beautiful thing to plant and then watch it grow. Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, I think so.
I will see. I find it's really interesting when I look back now, like at the timeline, and I see now how everything has compiled together and why. Whereas at the time, sometimes it was like, well, why did I do this? And then how come I ended up doing that? And now I'm like, oh, I get it now. It makes all perfect sense. So I don't know. I think it keeps evolving. And I know, like, even for me, like, I'm passionate about many things. Like Jessica, I know she is too. And I mean, I think all creatives, I think, are passionate about many things, right? But what I've found for me as I've started to evolve is when I put more momentum towards what I really enjoy, that's when I'm like, okay, I want to look like, when you could just like read and study and learn about stuff over and over and over again. And like you just know you're just so passionate about it and it just lights you right up. Then it's then putting more momentum, I think, in those directions is where I've noticed it continues to evolve.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100% on that. And it reminds me very much, I do a lot of genealogy work for my family and working on my family tree. And it's very much like that, where it's so many directions you can go with that, right? You can look at any branches on your crazy tree. And but when you find something that tips you off to like the next thing, it's like you put all your energy into that, and then you find out all of these things. And so I think that's sort of a little analogy that we can use, that once you find that little something that lights you up and that gives you as I'm lit up there, that lights you up. We have very good lighting experts on the show. Once you find that something that lights you up, that when you put your energy in it, it kind of snowballs. Is that how it was for you, Daylene? Did you find that it continued to be fired up and things snowballed as time went on?
Definitely. And once, so when I had my calling, like when it's like, and I was discovering and like, what does this mean? Like, what is going on here? What direction am I going? Hence my name, Creating Direction, right? I actually went to a psychic and she gave me the best, like her advice, and I've never forgotten it. And I keep it close to my heart. And she said, you can never go wrong when you follow the joy. Mm-hmm. Always follow the joy, and you will never, like, that's the path forward. That's the path you need to go down. So I always kept that dear to my heart. And I trust that. And I that's how I maneuver. Why are you guys laughing?
I was sharing the joy as you were saying.
Oh, but there you go. I didn't even notice that. I'm not detail oriented.
We've all got the giggles today because when
that's good. I'm like, did I say something? Is there something in my teeth?
No,
it was just it was so much joy. It was overwhelming.
It was her Vanna moment, like my light switch moment to the Vanna moment.
Just like the thumbs up.
Do I have to do that again? Do I have to do it?
So yeah, it's such, and then I don't know, like I feel like so much joy that I was saying on the Daylene show just a few episodes ago, that sometimes I feel guilty because I feel so much joy. Like it's almost too good. Like it's not too good. I know that on a logical level, but you know how we've been conditioned that it's not normal to feel this much joy and love. And I get like, I'm gonna get float away.
We're getting hot here. Yeah.
you know?
Well, it's so true, right? Because we come from a lot, I find, like me, Generation, she come from a lot of things where it's like, you have to work hard at everything that you do. And I mean, granted, I'm not saying that we don't work hard, because we do. And there's things that we have to put into motion, actions that we have to actually take. Mm-hmm. But, it's that mindset of, or like, even food, like, oh, we can't afford this right now, or we couldn't afford that. Like, it's that mindset of not being able to feel like it's just okay for everything to come easily and with flow. So I think that comes up a lot for a lot of people, at least I notice so anyways. So in relation to what you said, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're raised from the baby boomer and later generation, because you know, during those time periods, lack mentality was very real, and they had to work extra hard just to get by. So, you know, that's what was modeled for so many of us, most, if not all of us, growing up.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's what's really cool. It kind of ties back into the topic again. Even like I say, you know, driving to work, when you're so conditioned to doing something one way, when you need to do it a different way, now it's like, oh, I have to remember this. I have to bring more awareness to it. I have to think about what I'm actually doing, right? So it's, you know, but once you start to shift that, then it becomes easier.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm like it's flowing. It's flowing. It's got
Go, Daleen, go.
Okay. Woo-hoo. No, but this is so amazing. It is about creating your normal. And so I've been observing this for some time, and I'm really, really passionate about this because this is the transformation process. And so this is now our normal, living this life. And there's no way in hell there's no way in heck that I could, I'm like, I swear on my show, but I don't know if you swear on your show.
You're all right, Daleen. You're good.
But I could not go back to a 9-to-5 job. My heart would be broken. My soul would be broken. I love being an entrepreneur, and I've created this normal. So chances are I never will, because this is my normal. So that's the evolution, is changing your beliefs and your stories, and then it just becomes normal. And we all have set points.
I love that. Yeah, I totally feel that. I feel like you have spoken for me, and you have brought something forward for so many of the listeners that we have here. So I have a question, if I may, for you, Daleen.
Sure.
You had mentioned that, you know, you had your awakening and the calling, and you joined the coaching program, and you didn't even know what a coach was. So could you, like, what was that moment when you realized, what was that aha moment during that time where you found, oh yeah, this is it. This is where I want to be. This is what I'm going to do, and take and run with it.
Ooh, I'm going to get emotional here because it's just so I started taking my coach training and learning all of this new information. Like, it's the new way of seeing your life. Like, I felt like I put a new set of lenses on, glasses. And what we're conditioned and what we're taught was, I've been grown up with a lack mentality. And no, that's not any fault of my parents. It's just that's the way they were raised. And starting to learn about wealth creation and abundance and living life through your values. And I also started studying Robert Kiyosaki at that time, and learning that, you know, you don't have to, like, that money is everywhere, that you need to just go out and get it. It's there for you, but you have to choose how you're going to get it. And trading time for money was a big shift for me, where it's like, I don't want to trade time for money, you know, because there's an income cap when you're an employee. There's only so many hours. That's all you can create. And so I started learning about this stuff, and then my husband was my first client. And he truly was. I would practice coaching him, and I started taking my coach training in September. By February, he quit his job, and we're both became self-employed. Well, I had been self-employed for longer than he has, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he started doing his passion work, and that's been 5 years. Oh my gosh, I think we just had our anniversary. It was February something. Anyways, so it's been 5 years, both of us been self-employed. And that was that moment when I started learning and living life like with your values versus against your values. And that's why the misery was created in my life, is because, like, previously to the awakening, is because we were living life against our values, doing things we didn't want to do for money. That, boom, that's the shift.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I think that is so, that's kind of like so reminiscent of shifts that we've been trying to make in this house, and just, you know, it had to be fun doing some work with your husband. I have that because that was that's what I did too when I was taking my coaching training. Was I was playing around with using some techniques and whatnot with my husband, and that was a fun time.
It was so funny. We'd have coffee and I'd get him, you know how you can get people to open up and they get expansive and they're just in this creation mode and possibilities. Then he'd snap out of it and he'd be like, wait a minute, are you coaching me? Like,
I love it.
absolutely. Who else am I going to practice on?
Right. So I want to get some wrap up thoughts from you for our audience today. And if someone is sitting there right now in their seat and they're like, well, I kind of feel like I want to know what my purpose is and I want to tap into that, but I mean, I don't even know like what to think or where to start. Like, what would you tell them today that can help them sort of get the ball rolling?
So, and sometimes I do upset people, so it's okay, but that's a good thing, because if you're like feeling annoyed by my response, it's a good thing. So I'm pre-warning everybody. I believe everybody knows. I do believe that we all know, and we have all the answers within ourselves. But what blocks us is we have fears there. Because if we actually acknowledge and say yes, then we are forced to do something about it. Do you know? Like, we can't just, so a lot of times we say we don't know. It's because you're not ready to receive it. You're not ready yet. And I think you have to be ready to say yes to your purpose. So if there's that little, if you have that feeling like you think there's something, I just invite you to really trust in yourself. And I'm an advocate of journaling. I think that it is such a great way to really dig deep. And what I find is that if you open yourself up to it and open your mind up to it, and you ask any questions that you have on paper, pen and paper, I guarantee you the answers will come. Like, they come in thoughts. When you're really relaxed, everybody is very unique in when I'm a water person. I love water. So when I'm in water, I get a lot of answers. It just comes to me. I think it's because I get into that Zen state, or that state where your mind can process. So it's to trust yourself. And I think that people don't trust themselves enough. So if you're in uncertainty and lack of decisions, not actually making decisions, it's because you're not trusting in yourself. And I just invite you, you're so powerful, you're so beautiful, you're so wonderful, and you can do anything when you believe in yourself.
I love it. I love that, Daylene, and all those things. I took so many little notes today. There's some shows that I'm just taking in, and this time I'm just like, my hand's going to fall off in a minute. That's why I keep looking away. But thank you so much for being on the show today, Daylene, and sharing your story. And I think that it's something that there's a lot of people who feel like stuck and like they can't really move forward. And I think what you said, that you have to be ready to say yes to it, I think that is huge and so key. And I'm just so thankful that you came and shared with us today. So where can in addition to the links in the description and all of that, where can everybody find you today, Daylene?
Well, I'm definitely on Facebook, and I love having a beautiful community of network, and I love meeting people on Facebook. So send me a friend request, send me a message. I would absolutely love to just get to know you. So yeah, Facebook is where I spend the majority of my time. I love Facebook. So and my Facebook group is called the Productivity Blueprint for Solopreneurs. So join me in my Facebook group, and yeah, love to connect with you and get to know you all better.
Awesome, Daylene. Well, thank you so much again for being on today, and we will see you hopefully again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was an honor. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
You too, Daylene.
You too.
All right, ladies. So we're going to have a discussion. I was scribbling away here. Sometimes we know things like, we know things in our head, but it just doesn't compute like until somebody else is talking about it. I love how that happens on this show. A lot of computing going on for sure. I was thinking about when I was little, like I wanted to be very specific things. Like I said, I spent a long time really wanting to perform and be a singer. And, but I can remember these times when I was about 9 years old and I would create these seminars for my grandmother to go to, just my grandma, nobody else. And I would make pamphlets and I would, it would be about something like, just thinking back now, pretty profound for a 9-year-old to be coming up with these seminars about how to love yourself. And like, this is the things that it was about. And I had like, when I would have her, she couldn't come in until it was ready. And I would have like Taylor Dane music, hello, 90s, 80s and 90s, have the Taylor Dane music playing, like Love Will Lead You Back, and she would come in the room and I would give her this. I'm reminded, so like I knew then that I was supposed to be inspiring people and encouraging people. And does it look anything like now? Like, what I thought it would look like then, or am I doing the things that it looks completely different, but that soul purpose was always there. And I guess I just had to get to the point where I was ready to say yes to it. Like she talked about. So that was my big thing one of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to take away from that was being ready to say yes to it. What about you, Tara? What are your takeaways from Daylene?
I love that too. I think being ready to say yes is definitely, it's like it's even like meditation, like it finds you at the right time when you're meant to find it. And I think just to like further what Daylene was talking about with journaling and writing things down and trying to figure out like, what is my purpose? I think for some people in the beginning, that can even seem a little bit overwhelming. And so I think one of the tools that I learned too is just ask people that your closest friends, and just say like, what am I good at? What do you like about me? What do you notice about me? And then write those things down and, use that as a starting point, because the people around you sometimes will say the funniest things.
I love that. I love that.
It can come out in different ways,
It helps you think outside of the box too. Even if it's not something like they say something that you don't want to necessarily run with, it helps you think of things that maybe you wouldn't have thought of before. So I love that. What about you, Crystal? What are your some takeaways from Daylene today?
Well, first, I love Tara's suggestion of asking other people. And I've done that because, when you're busy writing content for your website, especially your bio. To me, that is the hardest thing you could ever do, is write your bio.
Yes.
It's good to reach out to those people and say, what would you say about me? Like, what do you feel, and ask, those are really good. And I'm a huge advocate for journaling and letter writing and, getting it all out and everything. But, sometimes it can be just as simple as, for me, I get a lot of messages and I do a lot of processing in water. So if something's really bothering me, I'll take a bath. Or, sometimes if I'm stuck on something, I'm like, this is a great time to take a shower, because then there's just something, it comes, right? It's not always, because usually if I'm stumped, I'm writing, I'm doing that. So getting away from it, helps. Sometimes it's the mundane task. It's not so much really in-depth journaling, but something like that, simple as asking somebody else, or, going for a walk or doing the dishes, to kind of step away from it for a minute, allows for those messages to come in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was huge. And I love that she practiced on her husband.
Yeah, that brought back some fun memories for me.
Don't we do that all the time, like secretly?
Yeah. With the kids, with the husband, sorry friends, sorry everything. Let
me see your nail chart. No, I'm just kidding. that just see that
Look.
solves it for me right there. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good.
Look, we went to the movies a few days ago and saw the movie The Upside. Have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
So good. First of all, so good movie, The Upside, and it's based on a true story, and the gentleman in the movie is a quadriplegic, and they have to hire someone to care for him, to be his auxiliary person, and they hire someone who's an ex-con, and so it's this whole accident that happens. But at any rate, this whole time he's getting him to think of different ideas that he wants to implement, because he's like, well, I want to start a business too, and so he's coming up with all these, just like every little thing. He's like, that should be an app, and this should be an app, and we should do this. And I'm sitting there thinking about, as soon as Tara said, I want to see your natal chart, I was like, we should have some kind of dating app where there's no pictures, you just see someone's chart and just swipe right.
It works for me.
Right. So funny. Anyway, that's a really good movie too, about life purpose and about tapping into what you want to do, and how you can change your life at any moment to embrace those things and go after what you want. So I think that's a good movie to see too. It's still in some theaters, so you can go check that out as well.
And last weekend, this came up when I was when I travel once a month. You two know, and I work with an incredible group of women during the weekend. And one of the things that came up, and so I see it cycling back because it always happens in clusters, right? So have you both seen the movie Mamma Mia?
Mm-hmm. What?
Oh, Tara.
Tara,
I don't have time to watch TV.
Tara, we have to have a
naughty.
discussion. On next week's Hot Topic, we're going to be talking about how Tara hasn't seen Mamma Mia.
So the first movie, Mamma Mia, it starts out with a song and it ends with the same song, and it's beautiful. Not just the artistic way of how they wrapped that song into the movie, or how beautifully sang it is, but listen to the words. I have a dream. I have a song to sing. That's what is your soul's purpose? Hello. I think we need to put the link in the song.
I'm gonna have
And
to listen to this one now.
and prompt myself in front of a window so that I have angelic glow like Jessica does.
Aw.
My son came out now. See,
It's crazy.
I have a son now too.
And it's always this
glowing.
time.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the show, I just start sparkling like some extra from Twilight or something. It's cool.
I love it. I've been like in my head that's been going on the whole time.
It
Oh
feels
my
so
gosh.
it's so Aquarian right now, right?
Squirrels. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So lots of good stuff today, though, ladies. I think all of us sort of have been in that space and shared that same sort of energy with Daylene, where you just kind of, that awakening moment where you realize, the changes that you need to make and the things you need to do in your life to tap into that life purpose. And I'm so grateful for Daylene to come and sharing her story today. And I also want to mention that Daylene is also a special needs mom, and she has a son that has Down syndrome. And I think that if anybody who has all of this stuff on their plate can tap into that life purpose and still say yes and still move forward, you can too. Like it doesn't matter. And it goes back to that movie too. No matter what life throws at you, you have choices that you can make to tap into it if you want to, and to realize and make that life purpose realized in your life. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Daylene. You can check out more information about Daylene on our website. You'll see thebreakthroughshow.com and her All of her information after the show will be posted on the website on thebreakthroughshow.com under episodes. And so you'll be able to check out all her information there. And you can also find her on Facebook through her personal profile and also her page Creating Direction as well, which is an amazing page. She has a great show called The Daylene Show that all of us have been on. You can go back and watch those episodes as well. I also want to thank our fabulous panelists today, our juicy girl, Tara Abram, for being here, and our transformational midwife, Crystal Cockerham. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me on the panel today. And a little sneak peek into next week, we have a repeating guest. She's actually, I believe, our only repeating guest from last season because she always has the best things to say. She's my double Aquarian sister from across the pond, joining us from South Africa. Lucinda Harmon is going to be here, and she's going to be sharing about life after devastation, about picking up the pieces, about how that looks when everything in your life falls apart and you've kind of got to place everything back together. So we're really excited to welcome back Lucinda to the show, and Tara will be back with us as panelists next week, as well as Shoshana Chaim. So we'll be excited to have them on, and I'll probably still be glowing, and it'll be a great time. So until next week, you guys, join us for another episode of The Breakthrough, same time, same place, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.